Good morning, good afternoon, whatever time of day it is that you are listening, folks. Thank you very, very much for listening. Today is the 11th of July of our Lord 2025. Welcome to yet another edition of the Coping Hour, hosted by Nicholas Single, a.k.a. Moto Noah. You're living in America, 7-Eleven free Slurpee Day at 7-Eleven. Does that transcend American borders? I know 7-Eleven is, like, if you go to Japan, I know 7-Eleven is a big thing in Japan, and Americans like to sort of fetishize, a lot of things that happen in Japan, but, like, the 7-Elevens are a big thing. Oh, I'd love if the 7-Elevens in Japan. They got, like smoothie makers and stuff out there. Like, I don't know. You get free Slurpees over in Japan? Nobody in Japan listens to this show. I've looked at the demographics. I've poured over the numbers. Japan is a dramatically underrepresented demo of the Coping Hour here. Go get your free Slurpee. If your local 7-Eleven is participating. Hey, I got something funny to share here at the top of the show, and that is that the town that I am from in Michigan, I've spent a majority of my life living there, Howell, Michigan. I learned something. An article came across my desk from the Livingston Post, the county that Howell is in. Dan Campbell was shooting commercials in an Applebee's in Howell, the place that I grew up, yesterday on Wednesday. Now, you might be thinking, wow, that's pretty cool. Like, Dan Campbell was in your hometown shooting commercials. No. The story does not stop there. The location that he was shooting these commercials was like a crucial part of my childhood. My mother used to work there. Like, for my entire childhood, so the way that the house that I grew up in as a kid, the way that our house was set up, it was a one bathroom household. My bedroom was adjacent to the bathroom, right? And so, like, there would be most days, where my mom would be getting ready for work, and I would come out of my room, and I would just, like, kind of, like, post up on the wall outside of the bathroom while my mom was, in the mirror, putting her face on and getting ready. And I would do the thing, it was like a 9-year-old. Oh, do you have to go? Do you have to go to work? And blah, blah, blah. And I would just, like, chop it up with my mom while she was getting ready for work to go to Applebee's, right? The first R-rated movie I ever saw. What we did beforehand, my dad at the time was working down in Florida, and so it was me, my brother, and my mom. We went to Applebee's, this same location, for dinner. And I remember my mom saying, like, yeah, they're going to see their first R-rated movie tonight when we get home. We had rented RoboCop on Netflix back when you used to get the physical DVDs sent to your house. We rented RoboCop. And I watched RoboCop when I got home. I'm just saying all this, like, the backstory here is important. This Applebee's was crucial, if not fundamental, to my development. And now, in the year of our Lord 2025, the most impactful head coach that has ever coached any Detroit sports team that I've ever watched in my entire life, like, more than Larry Brown, more than Jim Leland, more than, what's his name? This is the first time in my life I haven't remembered his name. What was the Red Wings? Who was the Red Wings guy that ended up being a piece of shit and everybody hated him because he just bullied everybody? This is going to drive me insane. I'm so sorry to derail this. Red Wings coach history. Oh, man, he coached Toronto a little bit. Mike Babcock. Yeah, everybody hated that guy. I remember as a kid, I thought that guy was a saint. I thought he was the best coach in the world. And then it turned out he was actually just a huge bully. Like, not a nice guy at all. Mike Babcock. I think it's Dan Campbell, right? That guy was in my hometown in a destination that was crucial to who I am as a man today, shooting commercials. So when the NFL season kicks off here in about a month and a half, just know, and you start seeing these Dan Campbell Applebee's commercials, just know it is in a booth that I have sat in. It is at a bar that I have sat in. It is at a four-top that I have sat in, okay? Bank that, store that, incredible. I called my mom today. I was like, bro, did you hear about this? Did you see this? Dan Campbell. So where my mom works now, she had worked the night before. It's still in Howell, right? She goes, yeah, Nick, I know, blah, blah, blah. Apparently, it was the talk of the town. It was so small town pilled. Now, the place, Howell isn't like a small town, but especially comparatively, like, yeah, I mean, it's, not like everybody knows each other. There's been a lot of real estate development and whatnot over the last couple of years, and it's sort of like a medium town at this point. But it's so funny to me, she already knew. It was the talk of the town. She was at work the previous night. It was the only thing that anybody would talk about was that Dan Campbell was in town today filming commercials at an Applebee's. But again, not just any old Applebee's. So what else do we got for you guys today? Well, it's going to be a long show. There's a lot of things to get through today. So I kind of want to, why don't we just get into it? Hey, something came across my desk within the last couple of days. Two things came across my desk. This segment that I'm about to do was originally just supposed to be about Chet Holmgren. It was originally just supposed to be about Chet Holmgren and him signing a $250 million contract extension and me just being disgusted and appalled that Sam Presti could give this big dumb bitch $250 million, right? Well, then, as of this taping, within the last 4 hours, J-Dub, Jalen Williams, the second best player on the most recent championship team in the NBA, signed a contract that is worth up to $287 million with incentives. So now my wires are a little bit crossed, and I don't really know the way to attack this. So the first thing that I'm going to do is pretend that the J-Dub thing didn't happen, and I'm just going to talk about the Chet Holmgren thing. Sick to my stomach. Sick to my stomach. I've texted everybody that I know about this, and I've just tried to, I've really, really tried genuinely to get people to convince me that I'm fucked up and that I'm wrong about this. I think it's crazy. So I don't want to start this, by referencing counting stats and just doing like a box score thing and being like, well, the guy only averaged 15 points a game and you gave him $250 million. Because I think that is reductive, and I also think that it really reduces the scope of like the impact that Chet Holmgren has brought to games in the 114 games that he has played in the NBA, which, by the way, is the only number that I will be referencing that I think turns this into a complete crock of shit. That a guy can play 114 games in the NBA and get rewarded with a $250 million contract extension. He misses his entire first season, all 82, didn't play a single game. Follows that up in his second season, plays all 82, plays and starts in all 82 games. That's hard to do in the NBA, and I give him a lot of credit for that, right? And then his third season in the NBA, which was technically his second season in the NBA, he plays 32 games. Now, the 32 games that he played was due in large part to a sort of freak accident. I'm seeing a lot of people calling Chet Holmgren injury prone. It's like, dude, he took a really hard fall. That, like, what was it? I don't remember if it was his hip or if it was his tailbone. I think it was the former. I think it was his hip. And, like, it looked horrible when it happened, and he missed, time because of it. And, yeah, I don't know, but that just doesn't change anything. For me, it doesn't change anything. Because it's like, well, you can play 114 games and be the best player on the floor. How many games out of those 114 games was Chet Holmgren the best player on the floor? I would wager to say fucking none of them. I would say, honestly, none of them. I would say he was the best player on the floor in none of those games, right? And it's not just that, right? I'm not trying to, again, I'm looking at this. We cover all the big stories. We cover them from all angles. I'm going to try to cover this thing from all angles. I'm going to be mean to Chet Holmgren, and I'm going to try to be as nice as I can be to Chet Holmgren, okay? But it's also like, dog, you were a near zero for 40% of the playoffs. Like, where was Chet Holmgren in the finals outside of the Game 7 that he actually played pretty well? And you could make the argument like, well, at least he showed up in the game that was the single most important. I would agree with you on that, honestly. And it's not just about the 15 points a game, because this is where I'm saying I don't want to do the thing where I'm like, well, he only scored 15 points a game. Like, why are you giving this guy $250 million? It's like, well, if I'm giving this guy $250 million, then I'm expecting him to average 3 blocks a game. Oh, I want a steal and a half, maybe 2. Is that unreasonable? It's $250 million, by the way. So 2.5 steals, $250 million. Move the decimal point over. And I want 6 deflections, 7 deflections a game. I'm just saying, like, clearly defenders are not valued in the NBA. Herb Jones, his extension that he just signed, 3 years, $68 million. What the fuck is that? How is he underpaid? How is Herb Jones underpaid? I don't want to stick on this too long. It's a great contract by New Orleans, super tradable. Any good team in the NBA would be really, really smart to jump on that now that you have years on that contract at a really sexy dollar amount, right? But like the other way that I'm looking at this is, okay, if Chet Holmgren is worth $250 million and he's only played 114 games, we don't actually know. Like, we don't really know for sure about Chet Holmgren. We really don't. You know who we do know for sure about? Paolo Banchero. Paolo Banchero got less than Chet Holmgren. Cade Cunningham got less than Chet Holmgren did. Now, technically he did when he originally signed the contract, but it was similar. It was akin to like a J-Dub style contract where it was very incentive driven. So now, I think when Cade signed the contract, it was like 224 or something like that. Now that he made an All-NBA team, I believe it jumped to like 267. So, okay, so now he's over the Chet Holmgren thing. And this is where it gets a little bit tricky, right? Where the communication on the Jalen Williams contract was that he signed a $267 million contract. Was it 287 or 267? Well, right, I just said Cade 267. I think J-Dub was 287. Incentive, like, laden was the point of it, right? It's worth up to that amount of money. I didn't see the same for Chet Holmgren. I don't know for sure. Maybe I just missed something. The details of both of these contracts, the extensions in Oklahoma City, are a little bit murky. As of this taping, they've just happened. We don't have like super extensive details on them yet. What the hell? This is why I'm upset. Is because if I'm Oklahoma City, like, it's cool to reward your quote-unquote big three with major contract extensions immediately after winning a championship. That's super admirable, and that's awesome. But I'm like, in the case of Chet Holmgren, I don't know, like, who were you bidding against? The answer's nobody, by the way. Nobody. You didn't have to do this right now. You didn't. You could have waited a year to do this. Dog, you have his bird rights. He would have been a restricted free agent. Like, yeah, Oklahoma City would have matched anything that any other team would have offered, but like, that's kind of like how you do business when you have a restricted free agent. Now, you usually do that when you're not really sure about a guy and you kind of just want to see, like, what are other teams going to pay him? And like, even if we're going into it thinking that we're going to match it, like, pretty much no matter what, unless it's an insane overpay. But again, we have his bird rights, so nobody can pay as much as we do. With Chet Holmgren, I think, you know, I make the comment about, like, are we really that sure about Chet Holmgren? We are more sure than we are not, right? And so I've seen this idea floated out there a bunch. Like, even Jacob, a.k.a. Rusty Buckets, floated this out there. I've seen this a shit ton on Reddit, too. Like, there's a chance that in 4 years, if Chet Holmgren is an absolute world eater and he puts on 20 pounds, which he absolutely has to, because when he was a near zero in the playoffs, it was because he was getting fucking weight roomed, dog. And so, like, yeah, I don't know. If you look at this in a few years, like, it could be a total bargain. I don't know. Like, a guy making $40 to $50 million a season. Look, I know NBA money's going up, and the reality of dudes getting paid $200 million contracts, it truly is something that we just have to be more comfortable with, and just kind of like, they are super jarring numbers right now. But by the end of the decade, like, $200 million, like, isn't going to be that crazy. And I think in a lot of ways, people are still stuck in, like, they have, like, 10 years ago brain, where a guy making $40 million has to be the number one guy in the team. It's like, not really, because, like, 15 years ago, which is, I guess, at this point, a long time ago, the Heat got LeBron on a $20 million average annual value. What was he saying? Didn't he sign a 5 or 6 year contract with him? It was for like $110 million. LeBron was making like $20 million a year. That shit is insane. Like, that's Herb Jones money right now. You know what I mean? So, you know, as the cap goes up and as these players start to make more money, between Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Jalen Williams, and Chet Holmgren, by the time all of these extensions kick in, the numbers are going to be somewhere between 85 and 90% of the cap in Oklahoma City for these 3 players. 3 players, that's 85 to 90% of your cap. What the hell? That's insane, bro. And so, like, you're sure about Shai. We're not even going to talk about his extension because he deserves every penny. He's the best isolation scorer in basketball right now. He just won Finals MVP. I'm pretty sure he won Finals Conference MVP. He won the regular season MVP. He was a damn all-star. I'm sure he was first-team All-NBA. That's kind of something that leaves my head, and I don't really remember off the top of my head, but it'd be weird if he wasn't when he was the MVP, right? He deserves every penny, and it's not about Shai at all. honestly, the truth is, for me, it's not even that much about Jalen Williams, because another take, talk about Jacob, a.k.a. Rusty Buckets. Dog, a take that he had that I just, like, my head exploded. I couldn't get enough of the take, and I wish he just kept saying the take, and that was the entire video. Is Jalen Williams just B plus Jason Tatum? Love the take, no notes. I'm not even going to elaborate on it. I just think it's a brilliant take, right? I'm not mad about his extension, because I don't know what this is, the problem with the details not being immediately clear to us after this news comes out. Like, okay, so it's worth up to $287 million, and that's contingent on incentives, right? Like, do you make an all-NBA team? Do you make an all-star team? Do you make an all-defensive team? Do you make like whatever it is, right? Do you win fucking, not sixth man of the year, but like, well, I guess it couldn't even be that, because you get some hardware, right? And you get a little bit more cash. I don't know what like the base salary that Jalen Williams is going to be making, but like Chet Holmgren making $250 just pisses me off, and it's just like, can you play 114 games in your career, make $250 million? Dog, like, the way that you can contextualize that is every game that he's played in his career so far in the regular season has been worth $2.2 million. $2.2 million. That's the value of a guy like Chet Holmgren. I guess. I don't know. What's the history of a guy who's built the way that Chet Holmgren is? Not great. It's not great. Look, I'm never going to wish injury on a player, but like, unless you're Kevin Durant, you're like, he's the anomaly in this whole thing. Like, guys who are just like super lanky and like don't put on that much weight. Like, I don't know. And people are gonna be like, well, KD tore his Achilles and blah, blah, blah. And he, all this stuff. Yeah, but it's not really the same thing. And I think, honestly, here's what I would say to people who think that Kevin Durant is not a physical anomaly, which maybe I'm arguing against nobody right now. But if you are one of those people who argues that, I would make the argument that you had at least 2, maybe 3 teachers in your classroom when you were a kid. Like, shut the hell up, right? Chet Holmgren, man, I don't know. I don't know if it's the Gonzaga thing. I don't know if it's the oxtail thing. I don't know what it is about him. I watched Miles Turner put his ass in the basket in the NBA Finals, and you want to come to me talking about like he's a world-eating defensive player. He's a really, really good. He's a not really, really good. He's a really good defensive player. I'm not going to put 2 reallys on it. I'm not bolding. I'm not italicizing. I'm not underlining anything with that. I don't know. It just really bothered me, and maybe some of it is sort of like I talked about it a minute ago, like that I haven't gotten it out of my head that, like, you kind of just have to pay these guys this amount of money when they're your core. But at the same time, it's like, okay, well, you've locked yourself up with these 3 guys. If you're Oklahoma City, you're like, that's fine, dog. Like, we just won a damn championship. We were one of the most dominant teams in the history of basketball on both sides of the ball. And by the way, in doing that and in their pursuit of a championship, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was horrible from 3. He shot sub 30%. Chet Holmgren, like, wasn't that good in the playoffs, like, at all. J-Dub had games where he was completely MIA, akin to, like, how a Jason Tatum character might do it. The difference, I think, between, just to revisit that take too, the B plus Jason Tatum thing with, like, Jalen Williams and, with Jalen Williams, is that when we saw this in the finals last year, like, even when Tatum's shot doesn't fall, he can play make like a motherfucker, right? Like, I don't know if he had a game where he had 10 assists in the finals last year. That seems like it would be pretty high, right? But I do remember very vividly, like, there were games when he was like, my shot's not falling and I can still facilitate, right? It's not really what Jalen Williams does. And so at the risk of sounding like I'm disparaging him or like, whatever, I'm not. I really, really like him. The other piece of this is like, what am I supposed to do here? Like, bet against Sam Presti? He got his guys, and he really likes his guys, and he paid his guys, and he has them locked up until the end of the decade. He has these 3 guys locked up until the end of the decade. Shai's extension, I think, kicks in 2 years. Someone can correct me on that. J-Dub and Chet's contracts, I think, will kick in the same year, which is not this upcoming season, not 25-26, but instead it's 26-27. But, like, dog, it's 90% of your cap. Yeah, but if you're Oklahoma City, like, how much does that really matter? Because you have unlimited get-out-of-jail-free cards, right? So there's pretty much nothing that you can't do. And if you're Sam Presti, you've shown us in the past, even within the last 365 days, that if there's a guy that you decide, I don't think this is our guy, and I don't think this is going to work, he flips him immediately. The second that they identified that the Josh Giddey thing was not going to work, they turned him into Alex Caruso in what ended up probably being the most absurd trade. I was going to say in the last 365 days. The Giddey thing really has worked in Chicago. I think he's a free agent right now, actually. Restricted, maybe? I don't think he's technically on the Bulls right now, but there's no way he doesn't go back unless something insane happens. The Bulls management, Bulls ownership has clearly shown that they don't care and that they'll just kind of like bring back guys who are like halfway needle movers. They extended Patrick Williams because they were like, well, we need a guy who doesn't fucking do anything at all, so we might as well bring back Patrick Williams. Good for them. I don't want to say that trade, but like Oklahoma City won a championship and Alex Caruso was a massive part of that. Right? His defense specifically was a massive part of that in the Denver series and then again in the Indiana series. So it's like, I can't really be mad at Sam Presti for being committed to his guys, but then there's also the part of you that's like, yeah, but when this like Dumbo ass bitch is one of those guys, it just kind of makes me sick to my stomach, and I don't like it. I'm not a fan of it. Honestly, I'm just going to say it. Because even if I've tried to be nice about this whole thing, I hope it fucking fails. I hope Chet Holmgren stinks. I hope Shea is amazing. I hope J-Dub is amazing. I don't like Chet Holmgren. I don't need to lie. I don't like him. I don't like him. I don't think he deserves this money. Jacob, a.k.a. Rusty Buckets, sent me a text today. I haven't verified this, but I trust him that this is true. Chet Holmgren will be making more money once this extension kicks in a single season than Scottie Pippen made in his entire career. What the hell? What? Huh? Now, look, I'm not here to cape for Scottie Pippen. Fuck that guy. I don't care about him. You talk about a guy who has CTE. I don't know what's going on with Scottie Pippen these days. There's no way he's running his socials. I think it just has to be what it is. I think the guy who runs Scottie Pippen's social media has to be the same guy that runs Snoop Dogg's social media. I've been going on Facebook a lot, like in the last like 2 months, because it's a really good tool for just like checking up on like how your family is doing, and then also like filtering through some like really racist shit. But like Snoop Dogg on Facebook will just like every day will post pictures of him like AI generated photos of him like snowboarding, and he's like, "Oh, you didn't think I could snowboard?" Or there was one of him like skiing, and then there was another post about Snoop Dogg in like a weed farm, and he was like, what should I call this strain? And I'm like, this isn't, and I'm looking at the comments and motherfuckers are giving him like earnest answers. I'm like, this is, huh? Scottie Pippen's the same way, where he just kind of like posting AI, and I don't know what's going on with him. I don't know if his wife just completely destroyed his brain. His ex-wife, I should say. I don't know if his son completely destroyed his brain. I don't know what's going on with Scottie Pippen. That guy has CTE for sure. How did I get on Scottie Pippen? Oh, because Chet Holmgren's going to make more money than him in a single year that Scottie Pippen ever made in his life. Yeah, I mean, some of that is, well, all of it is just, that's just sort of the nature of the NBA these days, where, like, what's funny is, in 3 years from now, the combined salaries of Chet, Shea, and J-Dub will be like 150% of what the NHL salary cap is. Because this year, I think the NHL salary cap is like $95 or $96 million. Whoops. Dog, in like 4 years, one guy will be making 94 or 95 or $96 million. Like, did you see okay, so Jokic turned down an extension, and he was eligible for, it was like 3 years, 212 or something was the figure. He turned that down because he was like, no, I actually want to roll this into next year so that I'm eligible for the super duper max. And that guy's going to get 4 years. He might get $300 million. He might get 4 years, $300 million. Whoa. Sick, twisted, nasty. Now, honestly, while we're on the subject of guys getting massive contract extensions, we talked a little bit in the last episode about Devin Booker and him getting, 2 years for like $150 million. Copinghour subs at gmail.com, spelled phonetically, email available in the description wherever it is that you listen to this program. We got an email from Sam. Sam, welcome back to the show, brother. Subject line, hot Booker take. Email reads, all right. I don't think I actually believe this, but in lieu of the $70+ million contract he just got, is Devin Booker adjacent to Bradley Beal in terms of legacy? And then parenthetically, you said, so far? I compared their first 10 seasons in the league, and it's nearly identical. Booker has the All-NBA nod and finals appearance from 2021, but other than that, their accolades are very similar. You'd maybe even think Devin Booker has played in the postseason a lot more. Nope. 49 to 47 games played in favor of Bradley Beal. I don't know, man. Just felt like putting on a tinfoil hat this morning. Regular season record. Bradley Beal is 318 and 327. Book is 325 and 348. Playoff record. Beal, 22 and 27. Devin Booker, 25 and 22. What the hell? I'm Mr. Krabs head shake .jpeg right now. What the hell? The subject line, I'm starting to read this email, and earlier today, I'm thinking, shut up. What are you talking about, Sam? But then he's throwing numbers in my face. He's throwing figures in my face that actually make a little bit of sense. Truthfully, I don't think it's as black and white as they're the same guy. But another to reference Jacob, aka Rusty Buckets, for the 100th time, 25 minutes into this episode, I texted him. I was like, "Hey man, are you gonna put out a video about Booker?" And he was like, I probably should. It's clear that he clearly asked Bradley Beal and Bradley Beal alone what he should do. Because what Book is doing in Phoenix right now is the exact thing that I criticized Bradley Beal for the last 3 years, which is like, dog, you kept kind of threatening these trade rumors and this cat and mouse, is he or isn't he game with Bradley Beal for years until he got this massive 5-year extension where he had a no trade clause and he gets paid a shit ton of money and he's in control of anything that does happen. It's kind of like what Book is doing, only the difference is with Devin Booker that he's never really threatened to leave. Any reports that you've seen that could Devin Booker go somewhere? It's third rate aggregate sites. It's Piston Powered. It's Valley of Suns. You know what I mean? It's not Sports Illustrated. It's not, although they're not really reporting. It's not Stadium. It's not why am I just naming dated outlets? The first two media publications that I named who are aren't talking about shit are media outlets that nobody fucking reads. Stadium and Sports Illustrated. It's not The Athletic. It's not ESPN, right? It's nobody. Devin Booker's not really that kind of guy. And so in that sense, it's not really the same thing, but I think to me it's different. And the reason that I truly don't fault Devin Booker for this is because dog, you're getting paid $70 million. Yeah, anybody would have signed that extension. But it's also I really respect. I've been thinking this in my head, but I was about to say it out loud. I'm still going to say it. I don't think I believe this. I was going to say I respect Devin Booker for being this is where you guys were the ones that drafted me. I slipped in the draft. I should have gone earlier than I did. You guys were the ones who decided to take me. That loyalty has to mean something. We always like to shit on players because, player movement and stuff like that. And I don't know, with Book, at least he's just kind of been not, well, maybe it is complacent, actually. Maybe that's what it is. This is what I'm saying. I don't know. There's something here where they're similar for sure. Because it's I've seen people credit Book for being being able to acknowledge and recognize the absolute circus that the Suns have been for the last year and a half and still being committed to them. Well, it's yeah, dog, you're getting $70 million a year. I'm committed to whoever the fuck is trying to pay me that much money. I'm your biggest fan, Matt Ishbia. If you're paying me $70 million a year, I could give a shit about the fact that the team is a dumpster right now. I'm getting paid, son. I'm going to. The most recent report that we've heard is that it's likely that Devin Booker will be the point guard again for the Phoenix Suns, which does make sense because the Jalen Green thing otherwise makes zero sense, right? So, okay, so Devin Booker is kind of going to go back to the 70-point game Celtics Devin Booker, that's fun for him. But there is kind of the part of you. This is where I got to be honest about it. There is a little bit of you. I don't know what the percentage is as I'm saying all this out loud, because I am realizing this as I'm saying it all out loud, like truly how I feel about this. I'm still figuring it out, I guess. But it's not as binary, as black and white as I thought it would be. There has to be the part of you that's like, why are you so cool with this? Aside from the money, we've established that he's getting paid a ton of money. Why are you so cool with just being on a team that like won't matter? Like, one of the lasting images for me from the 2021 NBA Finals, yeah, Giannis had 50 and the Bucks won and it was cool and it was an amazing series, an amazing like comeback for Milwaukee. But like Devin Booker had one of those moments that you see kind of every year where there's always one player who sticks around when the confetti's falling. This year it was Thomas Bryant, right, for the Pacers. Book, like watching the confetti fall and just kind of looking around, and you see him go. You don't have to be a professional lip reader. He just goes, damn, and he walks back in the tunnel. It's crazy that Devin Booker has played in a finals in this decade. It's crazy that he's been, it's not crazy that he's been all NBA this decade. Devin Booker is amazing, right? But like it's not a fall from grace. I don't know what it is. This email has really just messed with my brain. And I think it's because I have to acknowledge a harsh truth about Devin Booker, a guy who I've spoken glowingly about on this show and the Bun and Cardigan show and individual YouTube videos on the Motown Noah YouTube channel for years at this point, because there's been like a courting process for me, and it's like, I guess it does kind of confuse me a little bit, like why you would just be so cool with playing on a team. I just think it's there's some transparency to it, and I think it shows a lot of, once again, money aside, I think it shows like what he values when it comes to actually playing basketball, and I'm happy for him, I guess, but maybe this is what it is he gets his massive payday. It's only a 2-year extension, but I think it adds, what was he, so it's 4 years left on the deal now that there's the extension. I guess maybe I should have looked that up, but I hadn't really thought about that until just now. There's still years left on the deal, right? Maybe he was going to be a free agent next year. I don't think that was the case, though. Maybe it was. Is this like his major cash in, and then he's only, 28 years old, so there's still going to be good ball left in him once his contract is up. He's not really a guy that, gets like major injuries, but Devin Booker, man, breaking my heart. copingoursubs@gmail.com, spelled phonetically. Email available in the description wherever it is that you listen to this program. This one comes into us from Nathan. You want to hear something sick and crazy? Nathan, welcome back to the show, brother. Subject line, is it bad that I don't want LeBron back as a Cavs fan? And then in parentheses, you said, also vote me into the MLB All-Star game, please. We'll cover that at the end of this. I'm pretty sure it's too late, but we'll cover that at the end of this. And you wrote, all right, Nick, back again with another email, your resident Guardians fan / baseball guy here. Today we got a Cavs email. I'm seeing all the cryptic shit LeBron is pulling right now. I've always been a LeBron supporter, definitely not one of those Cavs fans who are bitter and can't stand him and don't want to see him in a Cavs uniform ever again. That being said, is it bad that I don't care for him to come back this season? Objectively, a hypothetical Garland and or Allen for LeBron move would probably move the needle, and realistically, we probably win the championship or at least make the finals. He at least brings some toughness to the team that we lack. Mitchell, Mobley, Hunter, and LeBron sounds really awesome, but I kind of feel like it would be more rewarding to win one without him. I'm so grateful for everything he did for the city and the team. Winning just one with a Mitchell-led team feels like it would be so much more rewarding. To shed free from the label and the talk of us needing LeBron, which honestly always plays a big part in it. So yeah, that's my thing. Curious on your thoughts on this, if you can put yourself in the shoes of a Cavs fan. Bring LeBron back for a short time. Bring LeBron back for a shot at another, or run it back and it's more rewarding to get one without him. And then very quickly, I think this is over. So I feel bad about reading this. So Nathan has worked in the clubhouse. Yeah, it's over. I'm so sorry. So I'm not going to read the second part, but I'll still give your story, bro. So Nathan's worked in the clubhouse for the Guardians for I don't know how many years it's been, but like in the playoffs last year, like he was working for them, and we got some emails, and it was really, really cool to have him as a boots on the ground. Like, dog, he's in the dugout, like watching these playoff games for the Indians. For the Guardians. And he was eligible to like go to the All-Star game. You could like vote for him, I'm assuming, as a bat boy, right? And I feel so bad that we didn't get a chance to read this on the show in time because the voting had closed. And then the other part that I feel bad about is like the bat boy in the AL that got sent to the All-Star game, he played for the Tigers. Not only did he play for the Tigers, I voted for him. But I voted for him before I saw your email, if that makes you feel any. I just feel bad that he doesn't get to go to the All-Star game. Because, like, when is the next time that a Coping Hour listener was on an MLB All-Star ballot? Nathan, brother, I hope you took screenshots of it and frame it, dude. Like, I'm so sorry that you're not going to be able to go, but that is so cool that that's even something that, like, that's such a rare opportunity, and even being involved in that, I really hope that means something to you. But for your actual email, I gotta be honest with you. I have wondered if there are Cavs fans out there that feel this way. And I'm so happy you sent this in, because I've wondered it, like, put yourself in the shoes of a Cavs fan. No, I have, bro. I've wondered, like, what is it like when you're in the identity of your entire franchise is one guy, and outside of him, Mark Price, Brad Doherty, did he play for the Cavs? But it's Mark Price. It's like him and LeBron. Like, that's what your identity is. And those guys are separated by 15 damn years, right? And so, like, when LeBron wasn't there, when he went to Miami, yeah, you got, like, Anthony Bennett. You got 3 number 1 overall picks. Anthony Bennett, Kyrie, and then Wiggins, who ended up getting flipped for Kevin Love. What would it feel like when you finally have a team who wins 60 games, and there's like oh my God, we might be the best team in the NBA, and then guys get hurt, and the team wasn't tough enough, and for, a myriad of reasons, it just doesn't work out. And then as soon as it doesn't work out, the stars like start to align, and there's a world where for his 23rd and probably final season in the NBA, LeBron could come home. And then not only that, but he's golfing in Ohio wearing a welcome home hat. He's practicing, like training by himself in the Cavs gym. What the what? That's so weird. For a player who doesn't play for the Cavs to work out in the Cavs gym. I get it. It's LeBron. It's in a lot of ways the house that LeBron built. It's different when it's him. But it doesn't make it kind of weird when we're all talking about the same thing, right? And so I've wondered this, is like, what would it feel like if you think that you're finally going to be stripped of that identity, and maybe, well, he'll always be attached to Cleveland, but you know what I mean? Like, wow, a non-LeBron-led team post-LeBron actually had a decent amount of success, even if it's not winning a championship. It's like going to the finals, right? Behind Spida. I don't think you're crazy. I mean, I think you're crazy, but your logic isn't crazy to me. I think that actually makes sense. The truth is, and what I would feel about this is like, it's fucking LeBron, bro. And what it would mean to you as a fan who's rooted for the franchise your entire life, who's like, you more than anybody understand that the emotional, the gravitational weight of the coming and going of LeBron James, right? The 2 times that it's happened, or potentially 2 times him coming back, right? What it would mean to you to watch him play his final home game in Cleveland, whether it's the, game number 82, or whether it's in the, of course they're going to go to the playoffs, but you know what I mean? Like, the game number 82 in the regular season will be sort of like that was when they'll do a whole song and dance. Cause once you get to the playoffs, it gets a little bit muddy, and you can't just like do that all the time. Right. I think what that would mean to you, and I think what that would mean to the city, and what that would mean to the state, is fundamentally different than what it would mean to Lakers fans, or wherever else he could possibly go, or like wherever any player could ever go in the history of basketball. I just think the story, the narrative here, I really think Cleveland is the best case scenario. Like, fuck the basketball, right? Like, for the rest of your life what it will mean to you that he came back for one last ride. He came home, he went to Cleveland for the third fucking time, and even if the season stinks and it doesn't go well because you had to give up Jared Allen, sneaky, like, what is the possibility that there's a buyout? Maybe he doesn't go anywhere and he stays in LA. What's the possibility that there's a buyout and you don't have to do the Jared Allen thing? You don't have to do the DeAndre Hunter thing. And you're going to be like, well, why would the Lakers do that? Because they would have a really valuable asset. Well, I don't know. They just got Ayton. And everybody's overselling themselves on Ayton. I also very much like the Ayton fit in Los Angeles. And I think having a playmaker like Luka does really make it a different thing. But it's like, I think people are overselling themselves on the idea of it to the extent that when he's just like fine, people are going to shit on him. I don't know. If I'm the Lakers, like, they've been pretty vocal about this. What's the timeline? The 2027 timeline, where they want to have like as much cap space as they possibly can. Now, trading LeBron doesn't really, or trading or buying him out doesn't really change anything in that regard, because he would be off the team anyways. But it's like, well, actually, yeah, it does kind of kill my whole point. But just for the sake of it, right? Well, actually, yeah, I guess maybe you can't buy him out, because unless you're just straight up saying player option for $50 million that he just opted into, unless you're just saying, LeBron, here's $50 million, you're going to stretch that money. Maybe you backload it, or you front load it is what it would be. So you pay, I don't know. I'm not a fucking accountant, so I don't know how this would work, but like, that's how you can front load, you can back load. The average annual value could be sort of the same throughout the entire thing. Give LeBron, eat $30 million this year, eat $20 million next year. I'm dusting my hands. Like, there's your asset, right? Or you could get Jared Allen, or you could get DeAndre Hunter, and I guess, you know what? Yeah, I'm kind of talking myself out of the buyout. I don't really know how much sense that it makes. Nathan, I don't think you're crazy, dude. I don't think you're crazy to think the way that you're thinking, but I guess I also do think you're crazy to reject the idea that LeBron could come home, because of, like, I just think it would mean so much to you that maybe you're not, I don't want to say you're not thinking about right now, but when you see him in that jersey again, and he does a chalk toss again, and he does a breakaway tomahawk jam again, and it's going to, like, invigorate something in you, and it's going to take you back 20 years to your childhood, you know what I mean? I really think it's going to be different, and I think in that moment you're going to be like, fuck Jared Allen, fuck DeAndre Hunter. I just think it'll be a little bit different. You know what I mean? So let's do another one. Let's start to go off the rails a little bit. Let's get sick. Let's get twisted. Let's get nasty. Let's do this one from Griffin. Griffin, welcome back to the show. Subject line, Joey Chestnut versus Usain Bolt. Good evening. As the digital Paul Revere and the honest truth in hot dogs, I'm sure you've seen the question, 3 hot dogs, then 100 meters. Who wins, Joey Chestnut versus Usain Bolt? Me personally, I am allowing water to be used. Have to eat 3 dogs, then run 100 meters. Joey had the record for 76 dogs in 10 minutes. So you would have to imagine how long just 3 would take under 10 seconds? Bolt has his record at 9.58 seconds for that. Griffin, I'm going to tell you something really quick. I'm going to hijack your entire email. I'm not going to answer your question. I would take Usain Bolt. I'm going to ask you something really quick instead. I'm going to do something I've never done before, and I'm going to change completely something that somebody emailed into the show. Because Griffin, you got the gears spinning in my head. Who do you think would be a more dangerous zombie? Joey Chestnut or Usain Bolt? I've been thinking about this since you sent it in, brother. I've been thinking about hijacking the shit out of your email since you sent this in. Because it's like, I don't know. The truth is, I think if you think critically about it, I think it has to be Usain Bolt. Because, like, I don't know, who's more dangerous? Well, I've really tried to think of an example in any form of zombie media, whether it be movies or television, where there's an instance of a zombie getting, like, too full, and then it kind of decides, like, all right, you can get away. Like, oh, that's fine. Oh, man, we're going to take a nap. Oh, that nitroglycerin and all that human flesh. Like, I got to go take a nap. It's like eating turkey on Thanksgiving. You know what I mean? You eat too much, you just got to go take a nap. That doesn't really happen. Whereas, like, I've seen the 28 Days, Weeks, and Years Later series. I've seen World War Z. Like, when zombies are depicted in a way where they're just like fast as hell, that's like the scariest type of zombie, right? It's like Walking Dead zombies. I would stick around for like 2 weeks to see if like militaries could handle it. And then if they couldn't, then I'm out of there, right? But like the Usain Bolt style of zombie, no. Nope. No. Because imagine like if you had Usain Bolt, Jesse Owens, Jackie Robinson, Tyreek Hill. I don't want to include Noah Lyles in here because as an American, I don't really accept him. Give me another fast guy. I don't care. Ish Smith, right? Those guys as zombies, no. I'm out of there. Deuces. I'm not participating in this apocalypse. That's not me. Whereas, like, if you have, like, now, I don't know if Joey Chestnut, we talk about 7-Eleven, does that that transcends American borders, but, like, Joey Chestnut, that's a true American treasure. That's a guy who will eat, like Griffin pointed out, very elegantly, 76 hot dogs in 10 minutes? Yeah. Yeah. USA, USA, USA. Caca! Sweet guitar riff. I don't know, like, Joey Chestnut could just eat a lot of people, but, like, I could outrun him. I ran a 4.5 in high school. That was 11 years ago. The last time I was tested for a 40-yard dash. I still got it a little bit. I could run a 4.75. I could run a 4.75 40. I don't think Joey Chestnut could do that. He's like 50 years old. There's no way he could do that. Usain Bolt, there's nothing I can do about that. So Griffin, I apologize for completely changing the premise of your email, but I do think I found something more interesting. But I only would have found that if the only reason I found that was because of your email, right? So I thank you. I do think that the answer has to be Usain Bolt. And then for a different email, which also has nothing to do with anything, this one comes into us from Michael. Michael, welcome to the show. Subject line: power ranking the best number of beers to drink. Here we go. Yes. Here we go. I saw this subject line and I started salivating. I said, what does this guy have for me? So let's read it. Because I'll just read it. Hey, Nick. My friends and I have a weekly ritual where we get on Xbox and have a few beers. We all live in different states, and this is the way that we stay connected. I'm going to break the email for 2 seconds. Guys fucking rock. Hell yes. That's awesome. That's how you do it. My most core memories with like the best friend I've ever had in my life was when we grew up as next door neighbors in Howell, right? When I talk about Howell at the top of the show, next door neighbors, best friends for our entire life. He went to college in Arkansas. So for years while he was getting his education, the only way that we could really connect was by playing Destiny on PlayStation. And so for years and years and years and years and years and years and years, that's what we did, right? So hell yes, brother. This is awesome. Love that for you guys. Back to the email. This past week, my friend posed the question, what are the top 5 number of beers to drink in one session? This launched us into a fairly heated debate, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts on the matter. I said, from worst to best, the number 5 is 13 beers. 13 beers can be kind of gross. You end up drinking a ton of calories and will feel super bloated. However, the lower ABV of beer means that you can drink way more of them at once than some other kinds of drinks. Great for a full day of drinking, but the bloating / calories makes me feel gross. Number 4 is 8 beers. Fairly similar to 13, but 8 beers typically is just a night of drinking rather than a full day. You end up feeling it way more, but you're still up against the insane number of calories and bloating. You said bonus, 8 beers is cheaper than 13 too. I mean, yeah. In your power rankings for the best number of beers to drink, at number 3, you said 1. The classic. You can't go wrong drinking 1 beer. Do you feel anything? No. Is it still awesome? Totally. Cracking a cold one after a long day at work is an awesome vibe. 1 beer feels great, but it doesn't offer much beyond being a good vibe. Number 2, 6 beers. This is the perfect amount of beer for a party, day by the pool, or night out. It will make you feel great, but generally more beer than you should be super regularly drinking in one sitting. Can be a little pricey depending on what you're drinking, but overall feels great without too much downside. And number 1, according to Michael, the number 1 best amount of beers to drink is 3. I love 3 IPAs. The feeling of getting to the end of the 3rd IPA and having a light buzz, knowing you'll be 100% fine in the morning is ideal. 3 beers won't make you feel gross, and it feels awesome. Going out for 3 beers will only run you $20, which is generally pretty economical for one good night out, too. And this is important, right? I think, honestly, brother, I think you should have led with this because it would have... I think a lot of people... I don't want to get ahead of myself here. I think a lot of people are going to be fucking pissed off about this list because I don't think it's good. But if you led with this, I think it would have changed everything about your list. For context, back to the email. For context, I'm a pretty skinny dude. 6 foot, 167 pounds. So if these numbers are skewed low, it's because of my body type, but the principles still apply. And then you have, there's an obligatory sports take in here. You know what, bro? There's so much to cover with your beer. I'm going to read it. I'm not going to comment on it. I'll still read it for you, though. Obligatory sports take. I'm moving to Charlotte at the end of the month, and I'm convinced it's the best city in the country to be a fan of different cities' teams. Tickets are so cheap. Hornets are $7. Panthers are $30. Charlotte FC is $15. Because the teams are so bad, but I'm able to see the Knicks in person for $20 when it would cost me $200 to see them at MSG. Yeah, I mean, I said I wasn't going to comment on it. I think you nailed this. You're right. Panthers tickets are only going to go up, I think. Bryce Young actually figured it out by the end of the year, and the Panthers were actually like a frisky team and kind of like not fun to watch at all and not good, but like actually kind of good. So enjoy those Panther tickets while you can. The Hornets are going to stink forever. Charlotte FC, they're not good. But neither the Chicago Fire are fine. I need to get to the beer shit, bro. I got to be honest with you. I fundamentally disagree with like all of this. Now, number one being 3 beers, mine would be 4. So that's peanuts, right? Like that's semantics at that point. So I'll give you number 1, 3 beers, perfect. I would go 4, but that's perfect. IPAs, I don't know how to say this. A guy who's 6 foot, 167 pounds, it makes complete sense that this guy loves IPAs. I don't know why. I would not, gun to my head, you could lock me in a room for 24 hours and try to, and I enforce me to think of why that makes sense. It just does. I don't know. It just kind of does. No, don't like IPAs. Give me a light beer. Look, if you're watching today's episode, what do we have right here? Right here. It's literally right here for when I start the show and as soon as the show is over, right? That's what we do. We don't do IPAs here, but okay, we agree on the number of them at least for the most part. Can I just say this? 13 beers? Look, your rationale for all of these is really what I admire because I can't argue with the logic of any of them. It's the number, right? 13 beers can be kind of gross. It just is. You're not going to feel good. There's no. You also focused a lot on the calories. Like a lot. What was these like 3 of the 5 power rankings? You're like, oh, calories. This is an honest question for the boys at home. Do you give a shit about that at all? When you drink, and honestly, good for you for counting calories. You're trying to you're keeping track of what you're putting in your body. I'm not making fun of you for that. It's good that you do that. It's healthy that you do that. I don't know, gun to my head, I couldn't tell you how many calories are in a Miller Lite. Is there even can I even see that on this thing? I don't think that I can. Okay, yeah, 96 calories. Is that a lot? How many am I supposed to have in a day? Like 10,000? Or if I was Michael Phelps, which if I'm going to be outrunning zombie Usain Bolt and Jesse Owens and Tyreek Hill, I should probably bulk up. Well, not on beer though, because you do get bloated. You do. 13 beers. I've had 13 beers in one sitting, like in one drinking session. Maybe once in my life. No, twice. The only times I ever even allow myself to consider drinking 13 beers is if it's the Super Bowl or if it's the Oscars. Those are the only 2 times that I'm allowed to do it. Those are the only 2 times that I'm allowed to quote unquote break the record, right? My own personal record. That's so many beers. And to put that at 5 really shows me that you are a capital D drinker. And again, I can't fault you for that because I respect the hell out of that. but you would have had to have done it frequently enough that you could even think to put 13 on the list. 13 would be like 10 for me, and that would just be for the sake of putting something on there. And even then, I would just go 12 because that's like a case. You know what I mean? One beer at number 3? What the we're on totally just different pages. One beer? Again, the logic of it. Like, you know, it's not going to do anything, but you get home after a long day of work and you have one beer and it just feels nice. Again, I'm not pushing back on that at all. That logic makes complete sense. But I think you and I have different portion control. I think maybe that's what this comes down to. I am never in my life having one beer. Ever. Ever. Either I'm drinking or I'm not. And in like, if I wasn't keeping track of like how many I was drinking and I like went to bed and the next day I wake up and, whenever I eventually decide to drink again, I find out I only have one beer left. I'm not opening it. I'm waiting until I have a new case, and then it's like, well, now I have 13 beers instead of 12. You know what I mean? Because if I have that one beer, I need it to do a little something for me. Like a little bit. Like, okay, I think I just need to stop shitting on this list. My number 1 would be 4 beers. Number 2 would be... This is so boring for me. I think it's 3 beers. I think that's number 2 is 3 beers. Number 3 is like 6, probably. Because if you don't take some ibuprofen and drink some water before you go to sleep, if you've not eaten anything that day, it could fuck you up. I'm going to stop there. Because that's it. Anything after that is like either I'm having a bad day or it's the Super Bowl or it's the Oscars. And then the range is anywhere from... What did I say was number 3? 5 or 6 beers? So plus 1 to whatever I just said to 12. But I don't do that. Even on like the craziest of nights when I'm like watching Sex in the City, because my window to drink is so small. I wait most of the time until my son goes to sleep. If Maddie's home, I'll crack one open. It's like, whatever. It'll be fine, right? If I know he's going to be asleep within like an hour, I'll just start cracking them open, like whatever. But most of the time, I wait until she gets home from work and he's asleep, which usually gives me like an hour and a half. So it's basically like, how many beers can I cram in an hour and a half? If I'm not trying, 4. That doesn't seem like that many. 90 minutes divided by 4. How many beers is that per minute? It's not that bad. 90 divided by 4. Yeah, a beer every 22 and a half minutes. I'm not a kid. That's nothing. That's me pacing myself. Like they just kind of, it's Miller Lite, bro. Like an IPA, yeah, I couldn't do 4 IPAs in 90 minutes. No way could I do that. No way. But light beer, yeah. It's like what it's there for, right? Okay, let's do it. Let's do another one. copinghoursubs@gmail.com, spelled phonetically. Email available in the description wherever it is that you listen to this program. I think it's time to do this one from Martinez. A week ago, we did the 4th of July episode. And I asked people outside of America. We started the episode by I power ranked my favorite things about being an American. And I asked at the end of the show for people outside of America to just give me, it doesn't have to be 10, but give me a list of things that you think is cool about it, that you think are cool about America. Martinez here is a Canadian. And he said they had a pretty interesting list, honestly. Brother, welcome back to the show. Welcome back to the show. Subject line: top 10 things about the United States of America from a Canadian. Hello, Mr. Motown. This list was originally a Spotify comment. However, I quickly surpassed the character limit. I want to preface this by saying I live in Ottawa, Ontario, the capital of Canada, and have only visited your country once. So this list is purely international outsider perspective. Honestly, that's what I wanted. So this is perfect, brother. Back to the email. Number one, you provide the world with a lot of resources. Pretty self-explanatory. Yeah, I mean, we're good at providing like Sydney Sweeney bars of soap that have her bathwater in it. Maddie and I were just talking about that. We did like a whole 10-minute conversation about Sydney Sweeney. Sydney Sweeney, she was recently at the Jeff Bezos wedding that people made a big stink about. If you were a celebrity and you were at the Bezos wedding, you got put on like a shit list. And Sydney Sweeney was there, and people were really confused about that. And then we learned, as of the day that I'm taping this, we learned that she's launching a lingerie company, and it's being funded by a private equity firm that is funded by Bezos. It's like, oh, okay, so she was there networking, and she's like being an entrepreneur. And I think we've done some segments in the past on this show about the Squatch commercials that she does, the deodorant company. And now they kind of need to chill out because they're like a little too horny and they make me uncomfortable. Like, it was one thing when like 15 years ago, Danica Patrick was doing GoDaddy commercials and they were like really horny. And you're like, I'm 9 years old. Like, for real, I'm 9 years old. Like, chill out. But it did make you curious about what GoDaddy was, and then you went to the website. I didn't, but I heard about people that did, and it was just, they're like, and this is how you build a website. And you're like, so what the fuck was all that horny shit for? But then here I am scrolling through YouTube Shorts, looking at like guns, and then I swipe up, and it's Sydney Sweeney in a bubble bath, being like, "Oh, you dirty little boy." I'm like, no, I don't want to see this. I don't want that. Dislike, block. I don't want to see this ad. Please don't recommend this to me. That's just an entrepreneurial woman, and but also fucking relax a little bit. So you're welcome for that, honestly. Number two, you have a knack for creating fast food chains with worldwide appeal. Chipotle and Chick-fil-A have just begun their expansion into Canada. Whoa. That's wild that there are people in like, I know you said that you're in Ottawa, which is too bad. I hate the Senators. Bro. There are people in Winnipeg, like the coldest, most densely populated city in the entire world, who like didn't know what Chipotle was or like Chick-fil-A. That's crazy. There are people in like Tibet that don't know about Culver's? Huh? That's a really good one. This is such an interesting perspective. Like, I guess I never really thought about Chipotle as being an American company. I mean, Chick-fil-A makes sense. That's Georgia, right? That's where that came from. I think so, actually, because Maddie and I, like 3 years ago, we drove down to Florida, and on our way down there, we stopped at a Chick-fil-A in right outside of Atlanta for Chick-fil-A breakfast, and it was the best. Like, Chick-fil-A service is already, the best in fast food. It's just the nicest people. But it also was very, very good food. Number three. So you're welcome. Number three, LeBron. Yeah, great one. Again, you're welcome. The Akron Hammer. You're welcome. Number four, for the most part, in recent decades, American NHL teams tend to be more competent than their Canadian counterparts. Thanks for taking care of our sport somewhat. Somewhat? The fuck? When was the last time a Canadian team won the Stanley Cup? I think Ottawa, was it like 07 that they were in the Stanley Cup? 06? Hurricanes won in 06. What are you talking about? Somewhat. America has dominated the NHL. Like, it's our sport at this point. I don't know, actually. That's not true, because Canada won what was it called? The event that they did at All-Star Weekend. That's true. Canada did end up winning that. But that was just because, like, yeah, if you leave Connor McDavid open in front of the net, like, you're going to have a bad time. For the most part. What are you talking about? The last 2 years, like anytime Canada's been involved in the Stanley Cup in the last 30 years, they've gotten bitched. Listen, you sent in a really nice email, but don't backhand America like we haven't completely. Canada hasn't dominated the NHL since fucking Rocket Richard. That was like 100 years ago. And I'm being hyperbolic when I say that. Don't say somewhat. Like there haven't been, like the last 5 dynasties in the NHL haven't been American. Florida happening right now. Tampa Bay, which these aren't necessarily dynasties, but like teams who went on runs, right? Florida back-to-back. Tampa Bay went back-to-back, but they had a chance to three-peat and lost. I may want to look this up. I don't think Canada's won in like 30 years. So if it wasn't the Panthers, if it wasn't the Lightning, if it wasn't the Penguins, if it wasn't the Blackhawks, if it wasn't the Red Wings, I'm going to derail the show for a second. I need to look this up, bro. Stanley Cup history. This is going to piss me off if I find out that I'm right about this. Taking care of it somewhat. NHL champion since 1927. Okay, we're going to do this in reverse order, by the way. Okay, so again, like we said, Edmonton in the last 2 Stanley Cups lost to the Florida Panthers. Before that, the winner was Vegas, Colorado, Tampa Bay, St. Louis, Washington, Pittsburgh, Chicago, LA, Boston, Chicago, Pittsburgh, Detroit, Anaheim, Carolina, Tampa Bay, New Jersey, Detroit, Colorado, New Jersey, Dallas, Detroit, Colorado, New Jersey, New York, Montreal, 1993. That was 32 fucking years ago. And before that, Pittsburgh, Edmonton. Okay, and then Calgary, and then Edmonton, and then Montreal, and then Edmonton, and then Edmonton, and then, okay, then New York, Montreal, Philadelphia. Okay, relax. If you, okay, I see what you're... Yeah, bro, Rocket Richard wasn't playing 40 years ago when Montreal won like 100 Stanley Cups in a row. But don't bullshit me about... I'm so glad I stuck to my guns about this and I planted my flag. It's been 32 fucking years since a Canadian team has hoisted the cup. Lord Stanley is practically an American at this point, by the way. But let's get back to your email because I fixated too much on that. But also, like, don't lie to me. Somewhat. You're welcome for taking care of it. Congrats on winning the Nations something, whatever happened at All-Star Weekend in the NHL. That was actually sick, and I'm not trying to shit on that. That was actually cool. Okay. Number 5. I think it's pretty cool how the geography, architecture, and culture can vary widely depending on the region or state that you're in. Completely different. Yeah, for sure. That's a really good one, actually. It's completely different. Yeah, I was going to start to give examples, but I don't know. I don't care. You're right, though. That is a really good one. Number 6, for as much suppression as they still face, civil society groups are still provided more freedom towards lobbying than in any country in the world. That's an interesting... I don't remember reading that one. That's an interesting one. I think you're probably right about that. You don't face suppression if you're like AIPAC. Because if you're AIPAC, you're like, here's $500 million. And any politician will be like, okay. And then they'll just shill for like genocide. Like, I don't see what the big deal is. It's like, honestly, this is a dangerous joke that I'm about to make. This is dangerous. I'll bleep it out if I have to. I think that AIPAC is essentially like how does this work? It's politicians who take money from AIPAC and then shill for genocide are essentially like... How's that? Did you get to hear that, or did that get bleeped out? Let's just move on to a different one. Number... What are we on? 6? I'm sorry, 8? Nope. 7. LeBron. You just wrote LeBron again. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah. The Akron Hammer. You're welcome. He hasn't gone 0 Dark 30 mode in a while. Does he still do that when the Lakers make the playoffs and he posts on Instagram and he's like, I'm 0 Dark 30 mode activated. And then he stays off social media until they get bounced? Does he? I don't think he does that anymore. Maybe just me not being on social media. Maybe he does. I don't know. Number 8. There used to be, and I think still is, a McDonald's in the Pentagon. If that is not indicative of the collusion of consumerism-led capitalism and the regimes you seek to topple and redevelop internationally, I don't know what is. Zing. Hashtag got him. I have nothing to... It's funny. That was really funny. It's a good one. It's good. My favorite thing... I actually don't know. Is there a McDonald's in the Pentagon? I've never heard that before. So it would be funny if you knew that and I didn't know that. I've never heard that before. One of the funniest, I think, accounts on social media is there's a Twitter account that's like... It documents the pizza places that are in the immediate vicinity of the Pentagon, and it monitors their activity. So when, like, the activity is quote-unquote higher than usual on, like, Google, that means that the United States military is conducting some shit, like, worldwide. Because if, you know what I mean? Like, if they're ordering pizza in mass, it's a good... So, like, an example of this would be when the United States decided to bomb all of these uranium enrichment facilities in Iran within the last couple of weeks. Literally the night that the operation happened, this account was like, they reported, I say report, it's an account that posts screenshots of pizza places near the Pentagon. But they showed it. They were like, hey, pizza's getting fucking sent to the Pentagon right now. Something is happening. And then guess what happened? Iran got bombed. Number 9. American culture is incredibly flexible and inclusive. As American television shows, movies, games, and other culturally relevant things in the United States are extremely prominent in Canada and other nations. American culture is incredibly flexible and inclusive. Those words, those adjectives are true depending on who the president is. Flexible and inclusive. Well, it's certainly flexible. That is the word for it. Like, but that doesn't, I don't think that denotes like a good, like an inherently good thing. Like flexible can also mean, oh, Trump's the president, so we don't really have to do Pride Month at Target this year. You know what I mean? Like sometimes it's shit like that, and they're flexible in that way. Or like inclusive. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess if you compare it to some other countries that have sort of different religious beliefs, you know, in a lot of ways, I don't want to say it's overblown, like the lack of inclusivity in America. No, I mean, trans people are fighting for their fucking lives. But yeah, it's a very nice perspective, and I did also appreciate you acknowledging that American like media, like television and like Hollywood, yeah, dog, like we run the world. Like I think if you asked outside of like India, I think if you asked anybody in any country, like give me your 10 favorite movies, how many of them do you think are like American quote unquote movies? If I put the over under at 3.5. Over. Yeah. Because I don't want to say like 6.5 and then make it seem like, well, everybody consumes the shit that we make over here. Well, no, but it is like the dominating force. I think 3.5 is a good number. Unless you're in India. And then you're... what's the number there? 2.5? It's just RRR 10 times. It's RRR, and then is Slumdog Millionaire? I only ever saw that movie once, and it was immediately after it came out, and that was like 2008. I don't remember when. I was young when that happened. I don't remember. Was he Indian? Is that what that movie was? So it's like Slumdog Millionaire and RRR just kind of alternated for 10 different movies. And then, well, for 9 different movies, and then also Forrest Gump. They put Forrest Gump at number 10. And then the last one, number 10, that one spot in the Southwest where you can stand in 4 different states at once is pretty rad. You nailed it with that one. Nailed it. I wonder if you know about that because of Breaking Bad. I wonder how many people, if that's like the touchstone for them, is they know that exists because Walter White flipped a coin, I think is what he did. He flipped a coin, and then didn't it land his dumb ass didn't flip it. You could have done that in such a deliberate way where like you knew it wasn't going to land back in New Mexico, you dumbass, but it did, and then he ended up dying because it was a spoiler alert, but the show ended 10 years ago. I like to imagine anybody who wanted to see Breaking Bad has probably seen the show by now, but very, very cool. I've never known if this is actually true. Does it cost money to stand there? Because I remember hearing once that it is like expensive to stand there. It's not just like you walk up, because everybody, I imagine it's like a pretty big tourist trap. I have no idea though. I'm sure one of you guys who listens to the show has done that before. So what would it be like? I'm trying to think of the states in that area. So it would be like New Mexico, Arizona, Colorado, Utah, or is it? That would make sense because it's like 4 square states. It's probably those. No, I don't think Colorado would be in there. It's not Nevada, is it? There's no way it's Nevada. But also geographically, that would make sense. I'm getting my wires crossed on where Colorado is. I know where it is, but I don't. Let's look at a map of the United States really quick. I don't know how do we look this up? Map of the United States? Do you think this will get us what we need to figure out? I don't think it's Colorado. It's trying to sell me a puzzle. Yeah, okay, I did get it right. Oh, I see why I was confused. Yep, I was right. Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, Utah. Yeah, I mean, it just aligns perfectly. Yeah, great email. I gotta be honest with you guys. I had about 45 minutes on the Epstein stuff. I have a lot to talk about with the Epstein stuff. Please remind me to do that in the next episode. It might end up being the entire episode, or I'll run out of steam and time will pass and I'll be like, whatever, none of this shit fucking matters anyways. Folks, if you are listening to this on Spotify, I love you. I don't have a question for you, per se. No, I don't. I mean, if you want to give me if you just want to give me your top 1, most ideal number of beers to drink, or if you're a non-beer drinker, how many Dr. Peppers could you put back? If I gave you 12 hours, how many Dr. Peppers are you drinking? I could probably do 12 hours. That's a lot of bloat too, honestly. I could do 12. Yeah, I could do 12. Easily. If it was like Mr. Pibb, 24. Probably 24. So beer or Dr. Pepper, what's the optimal number? Well, I guess I asked 2 different questions. You fucking whatever. You answer however you want to answer it. I don't care. Love you guys, though. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, what's up? What's up? If you're watching this on YouTube, sure leave a like, subscribe, nice little comment for the algorithm. Make sure to keep primary control in check. And I will catch you guys in the next one.
Primary control.